Hello everyone and welcome to the first video on the channel. Today we are going to go through a bunch of Easter eggs and references that can be found in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I do quickly want to say that this channel is going to be mainly Assassin's Creed focused, with maybe some other Ubisoft titles in the future. So if that sounds like something that interests you, then please help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Thank you. Also, if you know of an Easter egg or reference that isn't in the video, then please let me know in the comments. But without any further ado, let us begin. So let's start simple. Almost every game these days has a Dark Souls reference, usually in the form of a bonfire with a sword in it. And Assassin's Creed Shadows is no different. In fact, the game has at least 3 references to the Dark Souls series. The first one can be found in the Veiled Tumulus Coffin that is located in the Wakasa region. Shortly after entering it, you will come into a room with 3 bandits and 2 of them are sitting around a campfire. And as you can see, the campfire has a katana sticking from within it. Another reference similar to this one can be found on the coast, just a little ways south of Tanabe in the Key region. What makes this one interesting is actually the sword. The sword is pretty much a reference in of itself, as it is called a Espada Preto de Bordo, which I definitely said wrong, but in English it means something along the lines of naval black sword. The sword is of Portuguese origin and was used by Portuguese soldiers and sailors. The final Dark Souls reference can be found in the Omi region, right here on the map, in the Edo River Valley subregion. Here you will find another campfire with a sword, but this sword happens to be rusted and damaged. Staying on the topic of video game references, there is a quest in the game that will bring you to a landmark called Chowanji Yakushido, which is located in the Yamato region. This location and the man within the temple is a reference to the game called Sekiro. Now I haven't played Sekiro, so I don't really understand how this is a reference to the game. However, thanks to the Reddit user International Map 928, I can understand and explain it more clearly. So the temple itself has a close resemblance to the dilapidated temple that can be found in Sekiro. Furthermore, the man in the temple that you can talk to for the quest is carving a Buddha statue. He is apparently similar to a character in Sekiro called the Sculptor. The final reference is the ultimatum that the man gives you in the quest, which bears some similarities to a choice you have to make in Sekiro, where you pick between the Iron Code to your father or saving the Divine Child. If you have played Sekiro, then you probably know more about this than I do, so if you do, then let me know about it in the comments. During the Kabuki Mono questline, the player is introduced to a young girl named Izumi. After completing the quest and returning it to the quest giver, she will say this.
I know, I'll put on plays, keep their stories alive.
Oh, like they do in no theater?
Oh, no plays are boring. Mine will have more songs and dancing. I'll name them after the Kabuki Mono, and everyone will come see my Kabuki plays.
Izumi.
This could be a reference to the founder of the Kabuki Theatre, which was founded by a woman named Izumo no Akuni. And so if we take into account of what the girl says, as well as her name being Izumi, I think it's safe to assume that this is at least a reference to the founder of the Kabuki Theatre. I don't think this is actually her though, because the game takes place between the years 1579 and 1582. But Izumo was born in 1578, so the girl in the game is definitely too old to be the same person. When travelling throughout the Wakasa region, you can potentially overhear a short conversation between 2 NPCs. One of them claims to have found some monkeys that were meditating in front of a statue, whereas the other claims that they were just sleeping. Take a listen for yourself.
Did you say the monkeys were meditating?
Yes, the monkeys were meditating.
They were sleeping.
Look at me. You think I don't know the difference between a meditating monkey and a sleeping one?
They look the same.
3 monkeys in front of the statue. One covering its eyes, one its ears, and one its mouth. Does that sound like sleeping to you?
This whole conversation is a reference to Mizaru, Kikazaru, and Iwazaru, or collectively known as the 3 wise monkeys. These are the embodiment of the proverb, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, that I'm pretty sure most of us have heard at one point in our lives. Assassin's Creed Shadows has a few references to some anime. The first one can be found during the quest called Against the Kaiga Ryu, at the point where you need to track down a man named Shote. When following the road northeast, you will come across an elderly man, and here is what he has to say.
My radishes! My precious radishes!
This whole scene is a direct reference to the anime show Avatar, in which a man in the show gets his cabbage stall destroyed, and he reacts in a very similar way.
My cabbages!
This next anime reference can be found at the end of all the hidden trail activities that can be done by Naoe. At the end of these trials you can find a split boulder, which is probably in reference to two things, including the anime called Demon Slayer, where a character named Tanjiro breaks a boulder in half during his training. I don't watch any anime, so if I'm wrong on that then please correct me in the comments. However, the split boulders could also be a reference to the real life place called the Itoseki split boulder, which is of course located in Japan. The legend behind the boulder is that Yagyu Munenori encountered a Tengu, which is a yokai from Japanese folklore. During his training he split the monster into two, however he actually split the rock instead, which is why the rock has been named Itoseki, meaning one sword rock. The final anime reference is very simple and every one of us have seen it in our playthroughs, and that is how Naoe runs when she's sprinting across certain things such as ropes and thin walls. Pretty much her run style is a reference to the anime show called Naruto. I'm not sure if this run is called the Naruto run or just the anime run, but again I don't really know much about it. The creative director for the game, Jonathan Dumont, basically spoke about this in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, as there is a part of the article that says, "Anime fans will even be able to pull off their own Naruto run, leaning forward, arms bent back, sprinting at full speed. We do have a run on top of buildings that has a little bit of a wink wink to it." So I think it's safe to say that this is one of the only ones on the list that has been pretty much confirmed to be a reference to something. With the anime references out of the way, let us now move on to more of the references to real life things. We've already spoken about the founder of the Kabuki Theatre, but there is another one regarding the arts. Firstly, let's talk about the Kano painting school that is found in Kyoto. As the name suggests, this school is specialised in painting. When looking around in the different rooms, you can see a nice range of paintings on the wall. Whilst not all of them are real from what I found, 5 of them actually are. On screen now will be all of the paintings compared to their real life counterpart, with also the name of them in case you want to search them up for yourselves. During the yokai questline, there is a cat you can pet. It can be located around where you get given the quest in the first place, right here on the map. Now once you have completed the quest, you will be rewarded with the Bakeneko cat. I'm not sure if you need to pet the cat before completing the quest, as there have been some conflicting reports, but the way I did it was accept the quest, pet the cat, and then finished all of the quests. But why am I talking about this cat? Well, this is because the cat is literally a one-to-one copy of a developer's own cat. The developer's name is Nick Pantis, and whilst working on the game he put into it his own cat that is named Ghost, and he posted about it on X with a comparison to the cat in the game and the real life version. Staying on the topic of cats, in the game you can visit an island located in Lake Biwa called Oki Island. When you go onto this island, you will quickly realise that there is a large amount of cats just roaming around. But this isn't unique to just the game, as this island is based on a real life island in Lake Biwa called Oki Island. If you go there in real life, you will find a large amount of cats on the island just doing their own thing. In fact, there are multiple islands like this in Japan, which is pretty cool. This next reference takes place during the main mission called the Rising Tide. What happens is Yasuke and Naoe are looking for their target whilst watching a sumo wrestling match take place. However, Naoe notices that Yasuke is being distracted by focusing more on the match. Why this is relevant is because there is a painting from around 1605 depicting a black male engaging in sumo wrestling. This would have meant that the scroll would have been painted around 26 to 29 years after the events of the game. After doing some further research on it, some people believe the man in the painting to actually be Yasuke, whereas other historians dispute this. But regardless, it is pretty interesting to think about. When going around the map and going to different ornament vendors, you may find that one of them are selling a horse named Ringo, with the description for it saying, "This good apple steadily prances on beat." This description, as well as the name of the horse, is a reference to Ringo Starr, who is best known for being the drummer for the Beatles from 1962 to 1970. During the quest called The Path He Walks, Yasuke goes to Louis Fra to ask him to translate a document. It turns out the document is an oath to the Templar order. The conversation carries on with Louis Fra explaining that he heard of them when he was in Italy, and talks about the Borgia family and what happened to them. This references a callback to the events of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, as well as indirectly referencing Ezio. Take a listen for yourself.
It is an oath to the Templar order.
You know them?
Si. I have heard of them when I was in Italy. The Pope and 3 great houses were involved. The House of Borgia was one of them. Prominent noble family. They caused a lot of turmoil in Rome. Their thirst for power nearly ruined the city. I was there before I worked with Valdiano.
What happened to them?
Eradicated, mysteriously. They say a secret organization put an end to their conspiracies, but not much is known.
There is also another callback to an older Assassin's Creed game, but not in the way of narrative like the previous one. Basically, 13 years ago on May 10th, 2012, the world gameplay premiere trailer was released for Assassin's Creed 3, and in it there is a short clip of Kano doing a certain assassination roll animation. This animation for some reason was not in the final game if I remember correctly, but it seems pretty close to the assassination roll animation that Naoway does. There are a few references in the titles or requirements of the achievements, but before I explain them, I first want to go over this last potential reference. So if you come to this lake on the map, you can find this statue. It looks like some sort of shark monster. After doing some research on what people may think this is, I still honestly don't know what it could be. The three that I have seen is that it is a reference to the skull crawlers from the Monsterverse, but I have also seen people say that it looks like a Isonade, which is an enormous shark-like sea monster said to live off the coast of Matsura and other places in western Japan. This one seems more likely to me than the skull crawlers, but there is one more, and that it may be a reference to some of the old concept art for Godzilla 2000 that was released in 1999. This concept art in particular, to me at least, is very close to the resemblance of the statue, but I also feel like that this is such a niche reference. But who knows, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Finally, to end the video off, we will go through the references that are found in the names or requirements of the achievements that can be seen in the game. So first we have the achievement Coffin Raider, which is of course a play on words of Tomb Raider. Then there is Adventurer, which requires you to shoot an enemy in the knee with an arrow, which is a reference to the iconic dialogue from the guards in Skyrim. One that I was very surprised to see is the achievement titled Would You Kindly, which is a reference to the iconic plot twist and story in the first Bioshock game, which I won't go into because I don't want to spoil anything. Then we have This Is Japan Actually, which is obviously referring to the movie 300 with the iconic Sparta kick, but those who played Odyssey would probably know that this achievement was featured in that game too. And staying on the topic of Odyssey, the final achievement, Everybody Benefits, is a reference to the character Marcos, who happens to be one of my favourite supporting characters in that game, so that was nice to see. So those are all of the Easter eggs and references that I know of. I will do this for all the other games in the future, so if that is something you would like to see, then please subscribe to the channel. So thank you for watching and have a great day.